Red hair mummy found in New Mexico. What if I told you that another red-haired mummy was discovered right here in the USA? If you missed my last video, here's a quick recap. Deep in Grand Gulch, Utah, once home to the cliff dwellers, and even older, more mysterious people lay buried beneath their homes in dry caves. Repeat, there was a long-lost people buried beneath the homes of a later long-lost people. These naturally mummified remains included a family with wavy red hair, and the burial similarities to Peru's red-haired mummies are striking. Check out that video on my page for the full story on the red-haired mummies of Grand Gulch, Utah. Traces of a mysterious red-haired people appear again and again in some of the driest corners of the world. In ancient Egypt, royal mummies like Queen Tia's father Yuya and Ramesses II himself reveal natural reddish hair preserved through the ages, defying typical expectations. In China's Tarim Basin, naturally preserved mummies lie with light or reddish hair. In Peru, many of the elongated Paracas skulls are crowned with striking red locks. Even the Guanches of the Canary Islands, Berber descendants from North Africa, left mummies with occasional blonde or reddish hair, hinting at unexpected variation in isolated arid environments. We will get into that more later. Now, back to New Mexico. The following is from Image 5 of the Albuquerque Daily Citizen, March 30th, 1903. In the plundered ruins of the cliff dwellers, scant rewards await treasure hunters or clues about the ancient canyon carvers. Occasional finds by passing hunters rarely intrigue scientists or laymen. Not more than a month ago, however, a remarkable mummy turned up, found by a New Mexican hunter named John Tex. This mummy promises to upend some long-held hypotheses by archaeologists. A close look at its features and the peculiarities of its ancient resting place sparks startling theories about this vanished race. The mummy lay buried beneath 3 separate layers of cement flooring, a sure sign of its extreme antiquity. John Tex describes it as tall, with a normal-sized head, white skin, and thick reddish-brown hair. These stark differences, combined with its bizarre location, fuel wild suppositions. John Tex has lived among the descendants of the Pueblo tribes, those master builders, since before the 1880s. One day in late January, says Tex, as I rode slowly through the sagebrush plains of San Augustine in Socorro County, New Mexico, my eye caught what looked like a cave opening in the wall of a lateral canyon off the Rio Grande del Norte. It sat about 200 feet above the canyon bed, 50 feet up the perpendicular sandstone cliff. I climbed up and found it had been inhabited. Erosion had toppled the outer walls and filled the interior with broken sandstone, but I pushed inside. No relics from past occupants lay about, so I figured digging through the dust and refuse might uncover something valuable. Starting 50 feet from the opening, my shovel sliced through inches of sand from the roof, then labored through 6 feet or more of refuse until it hit a hard surface I took for the cave floor. Excavating revealed a perfectly smooth floor of clay cement, like that in the communal houses of the valleys I know well. Recalling how this prehistoric race buried their dead under dwelling floors, I dug deeper. Cracking the cement and shoving fragments aside, I hit ashes, corn cobs, potsherds, arrow points, and animal bones, a stratum about 18 inches thick. Below that, another floor. Under the second cement layer, more rubbish. But picture my shock at a third floor in this strangely built cave. With pounding excitement, I swung my shovel, clearing debris from what I sensed waited below. Soon, a good-sized hole gaped in the third cement layer. My tool plunged through into soft substance and crashed a large decorated pot, which shattered to reveal a mummy's head it had covered. Examining the mummy, a man's, Tex found it wrapped in 3 karosses, or blankets, each about 4 by 5 feet. The outer one had decayed with age, the next better preserved. The inner one, nearly perfect. The warp was vegetable fiber string, the woof, twisted fur strips with fur intact, twisted to mimic soft wool. The head showed death, likely from a skull blow, with a large indentation over the base. Features were partly Indian, high, prominent cheekbones, but the skull was large, brow low, no trace of the artificial flattening common in many tribes. In his shrunken state, the man measured 6 feet, but must have been taller in life. Broad-shouldered, with dried muscles screaming power and activity, a massive chest hinting at mighty lungs, long arms, and oddly small hands and feet for such size. As fair as a Zuni Indian of New Mexico, or a Maya of Old Mexico, yet racially distinct from both. To what race did he belong? A bracelet of two polished 2-inch bones sewn to deerskin encircled the right wrist. Tiny shells on fiber string adorned the left. The American Museum of Natural History calls these relics fine specimens. On Tex's find, they're cautious. Many explanations for the mummy's spot exist. They grant it's very old, and simple theories might explain the skin and hair differences. Today's unimportant discoveries often link the chain of facts on cliff dwellers, say the archaeologists overseeing that territory. My thoughts. As I said, this echoes the Grand Gulch, Utah story. Red-haired mummies buried under cliff dwellers, predating them by centuries. Here, beneath 3 cement floors, it's pegged as a cliff dweller. But could it be from that same ancient group Tex knew only through their successors? They shared the cliffs after all. I'd wager these southwest desert finds, red-haired mummies under layers of earth, are connected. These red-haired mummies turn up worldwide in arid spots. Environment alone? Maybe not. Consider ancient Egypt. Royalty like Queen Tiye, mother of Akhenaten from the 18th dynasty around 1398 to 1338 BC, linked to lighter hair. Her father Yuya's mummy shows reddish locks. Ramesses II, around 1279 to 1213 BC, had natural red pigments in his roots, likely a redhead in youth, perhaps henna dyed later. Egyptologist Janet Davies' tests prove natron doesn't bleach hair. Pre-dynastic ginger from Gebelein, circa 3400 BC, seals it. Red hair ran deep in Egypt. Peru's Paracas mummies on the south coast sport reddish hair, elongated skulls. 2010's DNA by Brian Forster, Jennifer Usher, Lakehead University, and Alpha Biolab found native mtDNA like B2 plus Eurasian markers U2, E1, H1, H3, T2b from the Black and Caspian Sea area. China's Tarim Basin mummies, Xinjiang, 4,000 to 2,000 years old. Reddish hair, Western features. DNA says, isolated locals tied to ancient North Eurasians, later mixed with steppe folk. Canary Islands Guanches, Berberkin from North Africa around the 1st millennium BC. Spanish accounts note blonde or red hair in some mummies. DNA ties to Northwest African Berbers. Lighter traits from variation, isolation, minor European flow. Kind of off topic but still interesting is this Socorro, New Mexico find. Intriguing tie-in. Coincidence, sure, but the famous 1964 Lonnie Zamora UFO sighting happened there too. Officer Zamora chased a speeder, spotted what seemed a crashed plane outside town. Approaching, 2 small figures in white one-piece suits by an egg-shaped craft bolted inside. It roared skyward. Scorched earth, landing gear marks left behind. Project Blue Book probed it. J. Allen Hynek deemed Zamora credible. The case flipped him from skeptic toward believer. I made a quick video about this topic before, link in description. Here's one last thing I want to mention. The story mentions that the American Museum of Natural History commented on this story. I wonder if there is a thread that could be pulled on there. What to make of it all? Like Graham Hancock unearthing forgotten civilizations or Josh Gates pursuing ancient enigmas, I keep an open mind and just keep digging. Resisting strong opinions, knowing the deep prehistory before written records is mostly lost to time, leaving us with fragments of data. Thanks for joining the mystery. Keep camping and exploring the mysteries of our world.